Hello, my name is Rupinder Syal and welcome to Spartan Tutorials. Today we are going to talk about a concept in biochemistry that is often misunderstood, and that is the Bohr effect. Bohr effect relates to the binding of oxygen to hemoglobin and the effect of proton concentration, so acidity of the blood, as well as the concentration of dissolved carbon dioxide in RBCs on the binding of oxygen, and how it relates to how oxygen loading occurs in lungs and how oxygen unloading occurs in different tissues. Okay, so let's talk about it. So the Bohr effect was discovered by Danish physician Christian Bohr. He is the father of the famous physicist and chemist Niels Bohr, who was awarded the Nobel Prize in Physics in 1922 for his studies on atomic structure. And Christian Bohr also turns out to be the grandfather of another Nobel laureate, Age Bohr. He was awarded the Nobel Prize of Physics also in 1975. So very interesting lineage, very interesting Nobel Prize winning family. Alright, so Christian Bohr discovered the Bohr effect, and it relates to this protein called hemoglobin, very abundant in red blood cells. This is the atomic structure of hemoglobin. So in this structure you can see the different chains of the globin proteins. So hemoglobin is a tetrameric protein and it consists of two different polypeptides, alpha globin and beta globin, and two chains of each form the active tetramer of hemoglobin. And the actual oxygen binding part of hemoglobin is in this region, and this is not the protein part, this is the organic organometallic part, which is called the heme. Okay, so that's where the binding of oxygen occurs. If we zoom into it a little bit, you will see this is the structure of heme. This is the iron atom in the middle. It has 6 coordination bonds, 4 with the nitrogens present in the ring molecule, which is very similar to actually chlorophyll molecules. So out of these 6 coordination bonds, 4 coordination bonds are formed to the nitrogens, 1 is to another histidine present in the hemoglobin, and the 6th coordination bond is left for binding oxygen. And if we look at the structure of oxyhemoglobin, we can see the bound oxygen right here shown in sky blue. This is the oxygen. The dioxygen molecule is visible here. Here is the iron atom. It has to be in the ferrous state for it to be able to bind to oxygen. So that's where the binding of oxygen to hemoglobin occurs. Now, what is the Bohr effect? Bohr effect relates to how pH determines this binding, how pH affects the binding of oxygen to hemoglobin. So what Bohr discovered was that there was a pH difference between lungs, which had a pH of 7.6, and in the peripheral tissues, which were more acidic, so pH 7.2, so more acidic. Now it turns out that carbon dioxide as well as protons, they are also transported by hemoglobin in addition to oxygen. About 15 to 20% of protons and about 20 to 40% of carbon dioxide is transported by oxygen. And carbon dioxide has a problem to be dissolved in the blood plasma. It cannot be dissolved in blood plasma, so it can only be carried in the form of bicarbonate ions. This conversion is catalyzed by carbonic anhydrase enzyme, which lead to production of protons and bicarbonates. So here we have a graph where we have the oxygen partial pressure in millimeter of mercury, and here we have percent of binding sites filled, so how much of the hemoglobin is occupied by oxygen. So as you can see, as we increase the partial pressure of oxygen, more and more hemoglobin sites become occupied with oxygen. That's a reasonable assumption, and that's a reasonable conclusion from this graph. Now what happens is, there is, due to this difference in pH between the lungs and the tissues, what happens in the lungs, there is a high amount of oxygen and very low amounts of protons, so less acidic atmosphere, and low amounts of carbon dioxide as compared to oxygen. In peripheral tissues, the condition is the opposite. There is low amount of oxygen, there is high amounts of protons due to acidity, as well as high amounts of carbon dioxide, and this is present in the form of bicarbonate. So an interesting relationship exists between the binding of protons and carbon dioxide and the binding of oxygen by hemoglobin. Now it is interesting to note here that oxygen binds at a separate site at hemoglobin as compared to protons and carbon dioxide. They bind at two different sites. Carbon dioxide especially forms this carbamino hemoglobin, and protons attach to different amino acids of the hemoglobin. They don't bind at the same site, but still the hemoglobin binding to oxygen is kind of inversely proportional to the binding of hemoglobin to protons and binding of hemoglobin to carbon dioxide. So in lungs, where there is high amounts of oxygen and low amounts of proton and carbon dioxide, what happens is there is increase in the binding of oxygen to the hemoglobin. So there is oxygen loading in the lungs. So oxygen is picked up by hemoglobin in the lungs. Whereas in the peripheral tissues, there is high amounts of protons and high amounts of carbon dioxide, so bicarbonate, which leads to decrease in affinity of oxygen for hemoglobin. So that leads to unloading or release of oxygen from hemoglobin. So that in nutshell is the Bohr effect. Very important for how our gaseous exchange occurs. So we can look at the different tissues here. So in the lungs, where there is lot of oxygen, high amounts of oxygen, low amounts of protons and low amounts of carbon dioxide, oxygen will be picked up and protons and carbon dioxide will be released. Whereas in the peripheral tissues, for example our abdominal tissues or in legs, we have high amounts of carbon dioxide, high amounts of protons, so this will lead to release of oxygen. So that in nutshell is the Bohr effect. Okay, I hope you found this information useful. If you liked the video, please give it a thumbs up and do consider subscribing to my channel. Till the next time we meet, take care and bye-bye.